Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Lately, you have heard about the famous party scene of Germany that is becoming more and more vibrant, colorful, life affirming, etc. And the first report from this party scene was from the Swabian capital Stuttgart. I reported on that. And now it seems like the Hessian capital Frankfurt can also boast with a party scene of their own. Yeah, it is a very colorful and very diverse crowd, and there is a square called Opernplatz, Opera Square, where in the night from Saturday to Sunday this week, 3,000 people were celebrating. Yeah, this is what the newspapers say. They were celebrating. And in previous nights already, this square, this public square, was a hotspot for lively parties. So the city, after they had seen that everything was, full of garbage, they littered a lot. They don't take their garbage with them, of course. No, this party scene doesn't do that. So the city, they put out a lot of dustbins. Actually, a lot of dustbins. If you look at the pictures that can be found in the articles about that. And this party scene, then, however, later it turns out that they used these dustbins as some sort of a weapon. All right, so as I said, 3,000 people were celebrating, and then during the course of the evening, a smaller group began to fight with each other, or two smaller groups were involved in a fight. And then the police tried to reach them and to stop this fight because I think, it got really critical. This is what the article says, that it was really dangerous for one of the involved people. He could have lost his life. So the police wanted to actually intervene there. And that was probably wrong because it turns out that once the police tried to intervene, these groups that were first still fighting with each other now turned against the police. And they said that it was by then 3 in the morning already, and there were 500 to 800 people still at this square. And the police was under heavy attack then. They had to pull back and ask for backup. And then, while they were trying to clear the situation, they were pelted with glass bottles and other objects were hurled at them during the entire time. The crowd was cheering and applauding whenever a policeman was hit, and they caused also a lot of damage at this square and like bus stops and buildings. So a lot of damage was caused. And many policemen were also injured, obviously. And now it seems like that the media, together with Green Party politicians of Frankfurt, they seem to have had some meetings where they coordinated the speech codes, the language codes. So they are unironically using the word party people, party celebration, and all that stuff. Yeah, it is really fascinating. I mean, the alternative media and the right in Germany, they use that as a joke, as a meme more or less, but these Green Party people and the journalists, they are using these terms unironically, trying to fool the public about what was actually going on there. I have to say that the newspaper articles, at least, they are truthful. Yeah? They report that there were 39 people that were in the end arrested by the police. Of course, they were let go again, right? And only one among them was female. Yeah, so 38 males, one female, and they were between 17 and 21 years old. And the police said most of them had a migratory background. Well, according to the footage that I've seen, it looked more like all of them. Yeah, again, the same thing as in Stuttgart. Very colorful complexions, and they weren't speaking German in, broken German at best. Yeah. So they were speaking German, but not the way Germans speak German. Let me just put it that way, okay? So, but at least the police chief has confirmed that most of them were not German or had a migratory background. Okay, so life affirming celebrations now also in Frankfurt. And it is really funny, when you listen to the interview that the media did with the police chief, what they could do, what they could change. Was their approach wrong? And the police said, yeah, I mean, right now with the events in the United States, it's really hard for us when we want to stop and control someone and search them. We're confronted with these allegations of profiling and discrimination, and we just don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, it's also a problem that their bosses, which in Germany is always the politicians, yeah, the local politicians are of course the superiors of every police chief, who then gives down the pressure to the men in uniforms on the streets. And the message is loud and clear. You don't do anything to non-Germans. I mean, if you stop them, you are a bad person. You are discriminating. You can't do that. But what do they do if there is an 800 strong crowd of them vandalizing the inner city of Frankfurt and throwing objects at them, insulting them, and screeching? What do they do then? Well, the only thing they can do is just to, leave the scene. They're discussing now also a ban on alcohol, which is funny because also in these interviews they make it sound like, once again, I mean, the female journalist, she asked the police chief, what could be the reason for this behavior? And then the police chief said, oh, well, I mean, it was late at night and they had a lot of alcohol and a lot of men. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As if German men drinking, and it's they look on their watch, and they see, oh, hey, it is 3 in the morning, time to burn down the city. No, this is not what happens. It has nothing to do with alcohol. It has nothing to do with the time of the night or day or something. It has something to do with the people that are there. They hate Germany. They hate the police. They hate everything about Europe, and they just want to, vent their frustrations and their anger at society because they're losers and they don't belong here. And deep down, I guess they know that. Yeah, and they just hate Germany. That's it. It has nothing to do with alcohol. I've been on many, many festivals where Germans were drinking almost until they lost consciousness. And nobody thought, it would be a good idea now to vandalize some property and attack some public officers. This doesn't happen, I mean, maybe some football hooligans, maybe, yeah, but not average Germans. That just never happens. These people, they are already aggressive before they start drinking. They have a deep-seated hatred against Germans, against Europeans in general. And if you look at the video footage, just search on YouTube Frankfurt party scene or party Szene. So that's scene with a Z instead of a C. Yeah, then you also find it. But I think party scene in English, it also gives you some hits. So you see what happened there. Yeah. So compared to Stuttgart, I think it was a smaller incident. There was not so much property damage like in Stuttgart, but the same pattern once again. And the politicians and the media, they use the same words, they tell the same lies, and they want to make the public think as if as if it's just a logical consequence of drinking too much booze late at night. That this is what happens if people drink, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so I just wanted to keep you up to date about what is happening in Germany. And I think we will see more of that, right? Because it's summer, it's warm, people want to party and then they get together and they drink and celebrate. So the next best thing, let's attack some officers, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes the new normal, if this becomes a pattern and the police doesn't have a recipe, because all they can do is really de-escalate. And the police chief even said, oh yeah, we used loudspeakers in order to tell them that they shouldn't do that, but they didn't comply. Oh, really? They didn't comply. Oh, gee, I wonder why that is. Maybe they're not the compliant kind of people. Have you thought about that? oh Jesus, it's just frustrating to see all these highly overpaid clowns, how they just, I think they know what they would like to say, but of course they're not allowed to say that. So I'm not even saying that this police chief is just stupid. I think he knows what's going on, but he also knows that he's not allowed to say that on public TV or in a newspaper interview. Yeah, that's about it. So maybe I follow up on that if more of this will happen, but this is just my little report on the events last Saturday night, early Sunday morning from Frankfurt, Germany. And by the way, maybe there is a new angle that they could investigate. Maybe it has something to do with German classical music. Because both in Stuttgart and in Frankfurt, an opera house was nearby. All these events, in both cases, took place near an opera house. So I would really strongly suggest that they investigate the staff at the opera house if they have something to do with that, because, it's a little bit more than coincidence at this point that it was in both cases opera houses that were nearby. So maybe these classical musicians, maybe these opera house people have something to do with it. Just something to bear in mind. Servus, Kameraden.